Today's review is for a beer that is an oldie but is now a newie, if that makes any sense at all. But this is the Pineapple Express IPA from Tiny Rebel. But there's something missing from this beer from when it was released last year. Keep on watching to find out what. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. This is a Pineapple Express IPA from Tiny Rebel. And those of you that are, big supermarket craft beer lovers may have thought, yeah, Rocker, I've seen that beer before. That came out last year in Tesco's. Well, it did. But this beer I picked up from Sainsburys. And the big difference between this beer today, than last year when it was in the supermarkets, and for some reason I didn't actually ever review it, is that it was a Pineapple Express IPA from Tiny Rebel in collaboration with my favourite brewery, Polly's Brew Company. But now, when I picked this up from Sainsbury's this week, there's nothing on the can that mentions Polly's at all. Nothing at all. As if their whole history of the collaboration with this beer has been wiped from existence. I did some research on the internet because I was like, I'm interested in this. But I couldn't find any information of why Tiny Rebel were not doing, this isn't a collaboration with Polly's Brew Company. There was something that I saw about this beer, Pineapple Express IPA, is now available on Perfect Draft. So if you've got a Perfect Draft machine, you can get a 5 litre keg of it. And I noticed some people have reviewed that, and there's no mention of Polly's at all on there, and that sort of got me sort of interested. So if anyone knows why Polly's aren't part of this and why this is now pure Tiny Rebel beer, then let me know. And it'd be interesting. I mean, it's probably a good year since it was available in Tesco. It's not. I don't think you can't get it in Tesco anymore. I can't remember, number one, whether it was any good. Number two, why I didn't review it. I think probably it was a case of I saw it, bought it, drank it, and then thought, I should have reviewed that, and then maybe it stopped. It wasn't available anymore. But I wanted to try it because I love IPAs with a pineapple flavour. Obviously, this one here, looking at the ingredients, it's got pineapple juice in it, which again annoys me a little bit because there's so many good hops that can give you that pineapple taste, whether it's I want to say Idaho 7, but I'm not sure whether Idaho 7 is purely pineapple. Vic Secret, maybe. There's definitely a number of hops that give a big pineapple flavour. Brew 1, that's it. That's the pineapple one. I'm sure that's what it is. So it annoys me that they feel the need to amp it up with more pineapple, and usually that gives it a little bit more of an artificial sort of flavour and aroma. But it says here, taste pineapple and grapefruit, eye pale, nose pineapple. So let's crack this open. It's 6.2%. Get it in a glass and see whether it's, as I said, I don't remember it enough to be able to tell you whether it's changed from last year. You'll just have to try it yourself. Let's just hope it tastes good. If it tastes good, then obviously you can go out and try it and see whether it is different than last year. So beer in a glass. It's pretty light, pale coloured. It's got a nice haze to it. We've got 2 fingers of very compacted white head. Looks like a pretty good New England style IPA, really. It's got that sort of just a bit lighter, so you know that it's not. Sometimes you get a bit more orangey, but this is a much more of a straw coloured, light coloured, not quite custard, but definitely more sort of like a pale ale, really, a hazy pale ale. So it looks pretty good. What it smells like? Well, no surprise, the smell is very much like pineapple. But as much as I've probably said dozens of times when I've had an IPA or a pale ale and said, yeah, there's a big pineapple aroma in here. The pineapple aroma that you get with this beer is very much more like the pineapple chunks, the sweet, the boiled sweet, opposed to a fresh pineapple sort of aroma. And that little bit of extra sweetness is probably because it's obviously got the added pineapple in it. There's not really much else. I'm not picking up anything. That's quite a strong, little bit sweet pineapple aroma, and there's not much else coming out of there at all. I'm not picking up the grapefruit. There's a sort of citrusy sort of aroma, and I'm sure that will come out more in the taste. But let's try it, shall we? Cheers, everyone. Flavour-wise, very similar to the aroma. I'm getting just big hits of sweet pineapple chunks. You know, the pineapple cubes. It was pineapple cubes, wasn't it? The boiled sweet. Definitely more that flavour. It's quite thin. It's a little bit over-carbonated. It's not got a soft mouthfeel that you would expect from a 6% IPA. Yeah. For an IPA, the carbonation is much higher than you would normally expect. It has the body and the sort of mouthfeel more of a pale ale. So the fact that it's a 6.2% beer, you're not getting that sort of creaminess. It's not like the Tiny Rebel 505, the New England IPA, which has got amazing, really soft and the carbonation on that's probably one of the lowest levels of carbonation I've had in a beer. But this is quite different. It's very sort of carbonated and light and thin, and you're getting that sort of that slight aftertaste, which is just very, very usual in these sort of, especially Tiny Rebel beers, with their sort of added adjuncts that they put into it. Why do they do it? You don't need to put in pineapple juice. Just use a different type of hop that gives off that pineapple flavour. Yes, it's not as obvious a pineapple flavour, I don't think, but it's a much more pleasant one, and you're not getting that sort of slightly artificial sort of it's not bitterness. It's just a sort of bit of a twang on the back end, really. And where you know that there's something about this beer that's been added that shouldn't really be there. That's what it's about for me. But it's light, it's refreshing, it's craft beer for people that don't really drink craft beer, which is pretty much sums up Tiny Rebel for me. That I don't think I know anyone who says, yeah, I love craft beer and I've drank all kinds of stuff. Anyone who's drank your Deas, your Pollys, your Verdants, your Cloudwaters, your Northern Monks even, your North Brewing, your Track, your Overtone, your Pressure Drop. These are ones I'm just plucking off the top of my head. Anyone who's drank any of those sort of beers will not pick up a Tiny Rebel and go, oh yeah, that was much better than a lot of beers that I've tasted. It just doesn't happen. But if you're a drinker and you've just started getting into craft beer, this will be quite interesting for you, because you'll be thinking, I don't think I've tasted that pineapple flavour in a beer before. You know, especially if they're used to drinking lager or sort of traditional ales. But it's a big, you know, after you've drank this and you're on that stepping stone into the craft beer arena, you're gonna find hundreds, if not thousands, of much better beers that give even if you're really like pineapple, you can seek out beers that have got much better pineapple flavors than this. So yeah, again, it's nice. It's a nice, refreshing, light beer. I don't even know why they can call it an IPA, because to me it's just a pineapple pale ale. It's light, thin on the mouthfeel, a little bit overly carbonated, but again, on a hot summer day, you're not that bothered about picking up all those interesting flavors. You just want light refreshment, pineapple flavor. It gives you that. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Tiny Rebel's Pineapple Express IPA, not to be confused with the Tiny Rebel collaboration with Polly's Pineapple Express IPA, although I pretty much think it's the same beer. I mean, a year ago when I first had this beer, I was a naive, young, very sort of hadn't had that much craft beer, so I probably thought, yeah, this is quite nice. It's definitely pineapple-y. But for me, it's not up there with the great beers. Whether in the supermarket there's better beers, out with there's better beers. If you want a beer with pineapple, then look more at the hops that give you that pineapple profile. But let's go through the scores. So aroma wise, there's no denying, and this is as simple with Tiny Rebel. It's called a pineapple IPA. You're expecting pineapple, and it's what you get. But it's not a fresh, juicy pineapple. It's a sweet, slightly artificial, like a pineapple chunks, a pineapple cubes, whatever you want to call that boiled sweet. That's what it smells like. It doesn't smell like fresh pineapple, but it smells like a pineapple sweet, basically, or even the pineapple that you get in cordials and stuff like that. So it's got that pineapple sort of aroma. It's pleasant, but there's nothing else to it. It's just that. 12 I'm giving it for aroma. Appearance wise, well, for an IPA it's very light. It's got a haziness to it, but as I said, it looks more like a pale ale, really, in terms of its looks. Very little in the way of head. You know, I wouldn't say that lace in the glass is that much. It's quite a thin beer, and it looks like a thin beer. So I'm giving it 7 for appearance. Flavour wise, well, like the aroma, it's pineapple. There's not much else. It does say taste pineapple stroke grapefruit, but I'm not picking up much grapefruit in this. It's very light. It's got a thin body, and it's a little bit too carbonated for my liking for an IPA. It's got all the sort of hallmarks of a sort of 4.5% pale ale, really. But the problem with that taste is that because it's got an adjunct pineapple juice or whatever that pineapple adjunct is, it just says here, well, it says pineapple juice. So it's got pineapple juice in the beer. It gives it a slightly artificial, it sort of, you get this strange sort of twang on the back end. I mean, that's not a very good technical term, is it? A strange twang, but it tastes just like not quite right, really. So for me, flavour wise, it's a bit one hit. If you like pineapple, then you might like it. But I said, you know, look at my channel. There's so many more pineapple beers with a pineapple sort of flavour that are just much, much better than this. So I'm giving it 30 for flavour out of 40. Value for money. Well, this is where, I mean, it's a 6.2% IPA, 440ml can, £3 I picked this up for in Sainsburys. It's difficult to say that this isn't good value, because it's a good value beer, but there are better beers in the supermarkets for £3. I also picked up again the Alpaca, and as much as I want to keep saying, but for me the Alpaca by Salt Brewing, it's an IPA as well. That was a little bit more, it's £3.50, but it is far superior to this. It's one of the best IPAs in a supermarket, not just Sainsbury's, but in all the sort of supermarkets for me. So when you think that this is only 50p less, is it good value? I'm talking myself out of it because I've given it for value. I think I'm going to give it 8 for value, because I think although it's a £3 beer, it's still a bit not very complex in its flavour. It's just pineapple and artificial pineapple with that. So 8 for value. Overall experience, well, if you want a beer that's pineapple flavoured and light and refreshing, and that's all you want, you don't want that complexity, you don't want loads of citrus fruits, you don't want a nice creamy mouthfeel, then you'd probably love it, you know. But for me, it tastes like, for me, it's very much like a pale ale. Too carbonated. Yes, it's easy to drink because it's so light, but at the same time, it doesn't quite give you the complexity you want from an IPA. So my overall experience, it's not terrible, it's not awful. I wouldn't pour it down the sink, for example. It's certainly drinkable, but would I want to keep drinking it? No, not really. So I'm giving it 12 for overall experience. So we top those scores up, and we do just about make the 70 mark. Just about edges into 70. On another day, it probably would be a Bon Jovi of beers, and really that's what it's all about. It just about gets into the White Snake, but it's a little bit of a bland White Snake. It's Here I Go Again or Is This Love? Those sort of overplayed, overly commercial songs. They're not bad, but they're not the best of what that band can offer. And it's the same, you know, if you like IPAs, there are a lot better ones in supermarkets than this one. So 70 out of 100. I can just about recommend it, but you know, it depends on your sort of what you think of pineapple as a flavour, and as I say, that artificially sort of sweet pineapple flavour. Give it a go. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've tried it before. If anyone knows why Polly's Brew Company isn't on the can anymore and not part of the brewing process, then let me know, because I'm just interested in that sort of stuff. I'd always say that if the one I had last year was better, it would be because of Polly's. But I can't really sort of compare it. I don't really remember it enough to know whether it was much different than this. As I said, maybe it was just a marketing ploy to give Polly's a little bit of brand recognition in the supermarkets. And so obviously they gave them that, and then they didn't need to do it anymore, so they took their name off. Or what worries me more is maybe Polly's paid Tiny Rebel to put their name on it, but they have nothing to do with it before, and obviously got nothing to do with it now. Or maybe they've just fallen out with each other. I don't know, but let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get some rumours going. So, hope you enjoyed that review for the Pineapple Express IPA. I'm presuming it is based on the film Pineapple Express. Looking at it, it's difficult to tell, but if you see the film, it's got a good film. I think it's a good film. From what I can remember, it's been a long time since I saw it. But let me know what you think in the comments of this beer, and until the next one, keep on rocking.